Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. You're watching the 2025 Fountain Hill Stickball preview show. With us, as always, Commissioner, the one and only Alex Specht. Alex, thanks for being here.
I look forward to this every year, Ryan. I'm happy to do it, my friend.
Yeah, you're putting in a lot of work, not just this week, but all summer. The Stickball Classic, again, is this Saturday, August 2nd, Fountain Hill Playground. 20 teams this year, Alex. Is that accurate? 20 teams?
20 teams, yep. One short of last year, but 20 is kind of always that happy point where it sets the bracket up nicely. It gives us a decent amount of games. The second round's always tough, so 20 is kind of like that sweet spot.
So 20 teams, some new ground rules being that we are not utilizing the St. Ursula parking lot this year. We're going to talk about that. But before we do that, let's talk about the sponsors and everybody who makes this event possible. First, our bronze sponsors, the Cloverleaf Pub, Fiesta Pizza, the Steel Pub, and in loving memory of Gene Cranko, Gene's son Wayne was a player in the tournament for many years, legendary pitcher. So our hearts go out to you and your family. Wayne, Cloverleaf Pub. This is a private club membership only. If you know, you know. Fiesta Pizza, some of the best pizza in the valley, and Steel Pub. Live music, great bar food, hockey. You have it all at the Steel Pub. Silver sponsors for this year's, and again, a lot of these names look and sound very familiar because they are. Sponsors just come back every year, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate it. The event would not be possible without them. So obviously, thank you. Silver sponsors, Shabam Associates LLC, Liberty Baseball Partners. Liberty has had a phenomenal program for as feels like as long as I've been around. F13 Performance, Moe's Pizza. Every year you can get Moe's Pizza at the Classic. Party Tents by Marty. Shout out to Marty setting up the tent. Last year we had a little last minute adjustment. He came in and moved the tent for us last second. So always accommodating our wild schedule in the days leading up to the Classic. Modern Image Construction. The Goose. Everybody loves the Goose. I'm thinking about a hoagie right now. My goodness. Hanover Memorial Golf Tournament. Great golf tournament in Hanover. RemCam Property Services. Iron City Construction. Weichert Restoration, and the Foresight Business Solutions. Alex, anything you want to say about the silver sponsors before we move on to the gold?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to thank some main ones on here, Moe's Pizza and Party Tents by Marty, always helping us out on Saturday. Liberty Baseball Partners actually donating a couple or more than a couple pieces of equipment for Saturday, obviously using the softball field. So I actually just got done leaving the field. We put some tarps that they had offered us to use on the field, mainly the plate area where the pitching and hitting will occur, and then some field maintenance stuff that we can use. And then obviously, everybody here is a big part of what happens on Saturday, and we really couldn't do it without them. So big shout out to all these sponsors.
Let's move on to the gold sponsors. And Alex, after we talk gold sponsors, we are going to get into the bracket, but also some ground rules again with the tournament being at one location this year, first time ever. So our gold sponsors this year are the Sports Corner, the Dursa Network. You're watching it right now. We're actually looking for an audio engineer. So if any audio engineers are at the Classic this weekend, come up to me and introduce yourself. Justice Works Youth Care, again, every year, gold sponsor. BF Brown Asphalt and Paving. Shout out to these guys. They not only play in the tournament, but also are a gold sponsor. Valor Insurance, Liberty Abstract Company, Chios Painting, Blackbird Farm. Same thing with Kagan. Every year it comes out and plays and sponsors the tournament. Shout out Kagan Hilaire and Blackbird Farms. Grill 3501, Zest Bar and Grill, Time Rooftop Grill. I'll tell you, if you need a date spot, you got your next three dinners laid out right there. And then you have the Can't Tell Me Funeral Home and Sharp Yard Services.
Obviously, the ones that always come back are great, and we absolutely appreciate them. Those that play, those that sponsor. But you can't thank Tom at the Sports Corner enough, who handles our shirts every year. Always willing to accommodate any kind of requests that we have, any kind of late, submitting of shirts or sizes or colors. He always gets it done in a timely fashion. I roll into the store, he's always got nice things to say. And I know he supports not only the classic but the people in it. So he was able to kind of put a little Genie Cranko JC on the fancy shirt this year, I believe, and helped us with a little treat for Team Live, Shane Hutchinson's team, with
Oh,
their
that's
shirts.
awesome.
So he hooked us up this year, like every year. We were worried that he was going to be retiring a couple years back, but
I
it
was gonna say,
seems,
wasn't this the last year, like the last
seems
3 years?
like he's in it for the long haul. So we appreciate him, and obviously we'll continue to work with him as long as we can.
All right. Big shout out and huge thank you to all the sponsors. We are going to get into what you've all been waiting for, and that is the bracket reveal. You're looking at it right now. You can see a lot to digest here. We're actually going to leave this up for a little while. Obviously, as we always do, we're going to go through each bracket, each region. But while we have the whole bracket up here, Alex, I just wanted to ask if you could talk through any ground rules or just anything you wanted to discuss regarding the fact that we're only going to be utilizing the Fountain Hill Playground and obviously the softball field, so 2 fields still, but not St. Ursula. So any ground rules you wanted to address?
Yeah, so the park this year, you're going to see a change in right field as the sand volleyball court is no more. They filled it in with grass this past winter, I guess, fall, winter, leading into spring. So that is now grassed over, which obviously changes quite a bit of gameplay and strategy for teams because you are always pretty specific about who you put in right field that could handle kind of the treacherous footwork, and some people even played that without shoes on, and so that's something that you don't have to worry about. The volleyball posts are gone, the sand's gone, the border's gone, so it's all just grass now.
Great
Uh,
news.
yeah, so that changes some things up, obviously, and then yeah, that field's always pretty standard. Anybody who's played in the classic in the past knows, what they're dealing with. Um, with the softball field. Now there is going to be a little bit of a change in play because that softball field is a 50-70 field, so the base pass will be a little bit bigger. We're doing that because they have pegged bases. So, in order to keep things safe on that field, the Fountain Hill Little League, shout out to Mike, baseball or ball field Mike there at Fountain Hill Little League. I spoke to him this week. He is allowing us to use the bases and some of the equipment down there for the field, including an outfield fence. So,
Awesome.
in
Shout
order
out,
to keep
shout out Fountain Hill Little League.
yeah, for sure. And like I said, in order to keep things safe, we wanted to use the pagan bases. So it is a little bit bigger in terms of the base pass. And in previous discussions and things like that, we were planning on going no cleats on any playing surface. Obviously, the blacktop, nobody ever wore cleats, but in the past, some players in the outfield did.
Mm-hmm.
With the rain and with what we expect the field maybe to look like, I am going to go ahead and allow people to use plastic only cleats, rubber or plastic, no metal spikes. And I know there are a lot of athletes that'll be playing on that field, so I'm sure they're going to have either football plastics or baseball plastics or turfs or something that they can wear. Um, just because, again, I do expect the field to have some sort of wetness or issue there. So I do want to give teams the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that. So if you have cleats, plastic or rubber only, no metal, that would be great. And then dimensions, they're pretty standard for both fields. Down the left field line and right field line for the softball field in the park are anywhere from 190 to 200 feet. Center field for both fields is roughly 200 to 215. I adjusted some today as I noticed painting some of the lines and things like that for the fence tomorrow, that I need to make some adjustments there. And then for the park, the blacktop field, right field is usually anywhere from 175 to 185, depending on the trimming and stuff like that that's on that right field side. And then the left field line for the softball field is roughly anywhere from 180 to 190. So, pretty similar dimensions for the most part. Obviously, the softball field's more flat. The park blacktop field has the pavilion and a little bit of a dip as you get into the outfield, but it'll all pretty much play fairly standard. I'm going to have kind of a turf batting area for the softball field and pitching area So hopefully that keeps things for the most part pretty good. Like I said, I have a tarp on the plate area right now to try and protect from the rain. But tomorrow's going to be a big day for me. I'm going to be up early, getting to that field as early as I can to get the water off, get it at least scratched up so it can start to dry. And then, like I said, Ball Field Mike has offered the tractor for use as long as we can get the tractor on there safely to do another drag and get that field prepared.
That's awesome. Which reminds me, anybody who is in the area and has availability, we will be down at the park tomorrow. Alex will be there all day. Some of us can't get there until after work, but we're going to be obviously setting up the event, putting up fences. So anybody who's available, please feel free to stop by. We can use all the help we could get. Also, I didn't want to move on without, thank you, Alex, for all the hard work on these fields, but also shout out Fountain Hill Borough. They have really stepped up and kind of helped us out with the field this year. There was some grass on it last week when I drove by, and yesterday it looked like they did a lot of work. So can't tell you how much we appreciate that.
Yep. Yeah, they had a backhoe on it. They were ripping it up, kind of leveling it, getting some of the dust off. So they definitely put in some extra work. They weed whacked the benches and everything. So it
Very
looks really nice and
appreciated.
clean down there.
Awesome. So I'm going to read through. We talked about our sponsors. Everybody makes the event possible, address some ground rules. Now we're going to get to the bracket. And I'm going to talk through, I'm going to list each first round game just so people can kind of hear where they're playing if they're not able to look at this. So the Fancies are taking on the Magoos 9:10 a.m. That's going to be a matchup for the ages. That's the Moravian region. These are all round one games. Sac Flies are taking on the Rockets at 9:10 a.m. Then over on the Jeter region, first round game is Basic Pitches versus the Fords. That's an early one, 8:20 a.m. And then down at Delaware region, Funky Bunch versus the One Hit Wonders, 8:20 a.m. So those are all your first round games. Now, Alex and I are going to work together, kind of work through this bracket and, pick a winner really and talk about each team more importantly. So the Moravia region, you're looking at it. The Fancies are taking on the Magoos at 9:10 a.m. I have some things to report for the Magoos. They are going to be out their senior outfielder, Rich McGar, is retiring from the sport, it appears, and he will not be available. They seem to always find, friends of cousins of friends to fill a team and be competitive. They're taking on the Fancies this year, who are also there's a lot of new faces on the Fancies. Some of the players are not able to attend, and I did speak with them, and it sounds like they're gonna have a new look Fancies team, a younger Fancies team. I'm interested by this matchup. Alex, who are you picking here, Fancies or the Magoos?
Yeah, I mean, obviously both these teams come out every year. They know what to expect, and they bring the best that they have. I think from what I'm understanding from our sources and what the Fancies are bringing in, obviously some of that talent's going to be their first time playing. But I think ultimately, I think they're going to have enough to pull out this victory.
All right, I'm gonna go with your pick there. Reluctantly, I'm gonna pick the Fancies as well. Although I don't know, something about the Magoos tells me because you mentioned the Fancies, some of them it may be their first time.
Hmm.
So the Magoos have been playing in this for many years, and I really tend to value experience, and the Magoos certainly have it. Not a ton of round two experience, but a lot of round one experience, and we'll go with the Fancies there, but just know that I'm reluctant to pick the Fancies over the Magoos. Now we have Team Live versus Twisted Team. Twisted Team is Luke Amir Beg and squad. Team Live, of course, Shane Hutchinson and his family and friends. A lot to play for this year. Alex, who you picking here? Team Live or Twisted Team?
Yeah, two, Fountain Hill based teams. Obviously, Team Live been doing it for a little bit longer than the Twisted team. You always kind of worry about Team Live keeping it together in terms of playing as a team and not necessarily getting worked up with each other or
Yeah,
arguing on the field and things like that. But
classic Fountain Hill stuff.
they're passionate, right? They're
Yeah.
passionate. They're competitive. I think Team Live, like you said, a lot to play for this year. I think that they're gonna have some good aura on their side. So I'm pulling for Team Live to win this one.
No argument there. Now the winner, You picked the Fancies again. They're gonna go on. They face the MFS. I think we don't need to discuss this one. If you haven't seen it yet, go back to the on the Durson Network and watch my interview with formerly of the MFS, Ant Davis. You can learn all about that squad there. Alex, you're not going to put up a fight here. I think we both have the MFS beating whoever comes out of that Fancies Magoo's game. Agreed?
I would agree.
Now for the quarterfinal matchup here to see who comes out of the Moravia region, we have Team Live versus MFS. And MFS, again, watch the interview, but a lot of questions this year. I know they're 5-time champs, which just sounds crazy to say out loud, but they're 5-time champs, and but they don't have the same team they've always had. So some of their core leadership is gone. Team Live, if they catch fire, they're as good as anybody. Who are you picking, Alex?
Yeah, so actually, I have a little bit more inside information from the
Ooh,
MFS.
we like inside information on the Durst
From
Network.
from the MFS dynasty, if you will.
Okay.
Obviously, we know in speaking or in watching your interviews prior and speaking to Ann Davis, he will not be there. Their typical right fielder. Matt Unix, the captain of MFS, is pulling from his family. Actually, his brother Adam, who is the right fielder for Liberty this year, is going to what sounds like play right field for them this
Wow.
year. Their brother Jake typically plays for the Goosemen, so it is a family affair for them.
Okay.
But it sounds like it took a little while for Adam to get used to the pitching. I guess in terms of practice, he missed like the first 8 pitches or so, and he thought that he was just going to start rocketing tennis balls in over the fence. But it sounds like he's figured it out a little bit. But little breaking news there on
Okay.
what their filler can could be for Saturday.
Interesting. You said a lot there. You didn't say who you think is going to win this game, MFS or Team Live. So
It,
yeah, it sounds like you're really split, just based off those words. But I'll tell you who I'm going to pick. I'm going to go Team Live because I think this team has been around for a long time. To your point, and they just haven't caught fire. Why can't this be their year? And MFS, as talented as they are, they really struggled. Albeit they won the tournament last year, it didn't look like they were going to win down the stretch. Um,
yeah, I think they've quickly found out that the day is long, and now we'll have cooler weather this year on Saturday. It looks like compared to the past, but a long day it has become for them as they get older. As we've have found out, obviously in past years. I know last year looking at them towards the semis and the finals, they had the wet rags over their shoulders and pouring water on their heads, and
yep.
they seemed to start to get tired as the day went on. So yeah, I think I agree with you. I think this might be Team Liv's year to make the next step and push into the semifinals.
We're going to go Team Live here and see what happens. Team Live coming out of the Moravia region. Moving on to the Broadway region. I grew up on Broadway, so this one's close to home for me. We have the Sac Flies taking on the Rockets. That's the 9:10 a.m. matchup on the softball field. Now, the Rockets are led by Dr. Reese, principal of Brockville Middle School. Correct me if I'm wrong, Alex.
Newly appointed principal at Brockville.
And
Congratulations to Dr.
and
Reese.
I'm hearing all about the talent on this squad and really talking it up. One name in particular, Chris D'Amelio, I'm being told has a past performance with baseball and can be a real power hitter and can likely help this team get at least one victory in this tournament, which would be really good to see. We like new teams winning and moving on in the tournament. Alex, you know more about them versus the Sac Flies than I do. So tell me, where the Sac Flies, where do they stand against the Rockets?
Well, I think it's actually a pretty good matchup. Sac Flies, they come out every year. They like to enjoy themselves on Classic Day, so it's a little early in the bracket for them to be playing. So maybe they will have escaped some of that fun that they like to have and bring everything they have to the game. But yeah, I think the Rockets, bolstering their lineup a little bit this year. D'Amelio being a big power hitter. big athlete in the past, new assistant principal at Brocco. Congratulations to him. So some new leadership, if you will, on that squad and in that school. I think that they're kind of gearing up to make a run this year. So
Wow.
I think the Sac Flies will be happy no matter what happens here because they're going to stay, they're going to enjoy themselves, they're going to be a part of the event. But I think the Rockets pull this one out in the 9-10 game.
All right. Rockets are moving on here on this bracket. Then we have the Charlie Browners taking on the Horned Frogs. Charlie Browners, again, if you haven't seen it, you got to check out my interview with Charlie Browners first baseman Shane Edwards. The kid's electric. They're taking on the Horned Frogs. Horned Frogs have been in this tournament a long time. Shout out to they have a Mike Silvestri on their squad, has a podcast, B Team podcast, one of the greatest football podcasts on all the internet. Make sure you check it out. Again, it's the B Team podcast. Check them out. I kind of like Charlie Browners here. Again, Horned Frogs are always competitive, so they could beat the Charlie Browners. I don't know. I got a soft spot for Big Sheds, Shane Edwards, and I'm gonna go with the Charlie Browners. Anything? Are you gonna disagree with me on this one, Alex?
I don't think I'm going to disagree with you. I did notice in some videos last night at their practice that they were having it looked like one of their players, Mike Donchez, maybe had a cast on his right wrist. If that was in fact him, it looked like him. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
somebody there was in sandals and a cast, so they could potentially be down a pretty important player on their squad.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, I think Charlie Browners. Battle tested, have obviously won a title, have beat MFS, have beat some of the best teams in the tournament. I think they're going to be able to move on here and get into the quarterfinals.
All right. That brings us to the Salisbury Falcons versus the Rockets. So kind of like Salisbury versus Brock almost, neighboring counties, if you will. Salisbury, they actually made a run, I believe, last year for the first time in many, many years after being one of the first dynasties in this tournament. I'm a little out on them just in terms of consistency, Alex. So the fact that you picked the Rockets over the Sac Flies just further emphasizes the talent on this Rocket squad. Who do you have between Salisbury Falcons and the Rockets?
Yeah, so like you were saying, I mean, Salisbury Falcons, they go way back, won 3 straight titles, were the first 3-time classic winners, but then had a couple years of downplay, even like a first round loss, I think, at some point, and then came back and made a run last year to the semis, and actually they had MFS beat in the semifinals, and they ended up falling short as MFS won that in the last inning. But yeah, I mean, I think it's all about what Salisbury Falcon team is coming to play, right? They obviously still have the players that can do it. They know how to win. But I think, like I said, the Rockets kind of bolstering up that squad. I'm not going to say that the Rockets couldn't knock off Salisbury in this position. So I think ultimately, we're all about those Cinderella runs, right? Ultimately, I think in my mind, I'm going to give the Rockets a little bit of a push here and
Okay.
move them into the quarterfinals.
I like it. So that has us, and I'm going to agree with you. Again, I already told you I was kind of out on Salisbury. Nothing against them. I just can't trust the consistency. So that brings us to the Charlie Browners versus the Rockets. Again, I mean, this Charlie Browners team, they've been there, done that. But the Rockets right now, based on our prediction, are on a run. They're playing hot. Who do you got? Charlie Browners or the Rockets?
I
Coming
think
out.
this
Go ahead.
I think this is probably where the Rockets' run ends. Again, Charlie Browners, battle tested, hungry, if you will. I think they're raring to go and to show that they weren't just a one hit wonder. Shout out to a team that we'll check out on another part of the bracket here. But I think people are questioning their true stickball ability, and if that one championship was just kind of a flash in the pan. So I think the Charlie Browners quiet a little bit of that talk to this point and move themselves into the semifinals.
I'm glad you picked them over the Rockets. I wouldn't have done it, but it's going to be a great matchup. Moving on then, Alex, to the Delaware region, the Funky Bunch versus the One Hit Wonders. I am not familiar with the One Hit Wonders. Can you tell me about them?
Yeah, from my understanding and my investigating of certain teams, I believe they're kind of a mix of the Liberty baseball team of the past, so the Kansas City Chiefers, and the Backyard Bullies. So I think they kind of molded together, picked some people from each team, and kind of came together. Um, if you remember the Kansas City Chiefers, that team was second in the state in 2022 for Liberty High School. They lost to Warwick in the state final.
Ah, okay.
So I think it's a mixture of those two teams. Obviously, some premier talent, athletes, those that have played baseball, and most of them, if not all of them, have played in the tournament before, so they do have some experience.
So then, if the one hit wonders with that experience, I would assume you're going to take them over the Funky Bunch.
Yeah, I would. Obviously, shout out Nick Lynch, Kagan Hilaire, Patrick Hilaire, Moe's Pizza. They always come out and support Blackbird Farms, things like that. So they're a big supporter of the classic, and I know they like to enjoy the day as well. So unfortunately, I think their run ends after the first game.
So now that would have the one hit wonders then going on to face a team last year that made a name for themselves for a long time. I think NWSB. Talk about NWSB, and then what do you think about this matchup against the one hit wonders?
Yeah, NWSB is a mixture of Northwestern Lehigh athletics, so baseball, football. Shout out Eli Zimmerman, who I believe was the Pennsylvania Football Player of the Year, and winning the state title
Pretty amazing. He's
for Northwestern Lehigh.
pretty awesome. He's playing in the tournament.
Yeah, I think he was probably pretty close to like 3,000 all-purpose yards and like over
Wow.
30 touchdowns. Scored the game-winning touchdown for Northwestern Lehigh to win that state title. But that district, man, that school, they breed winners. I think they had a state championships in girls soccer, boys soccer, football, a couple other district championships in basketball, maybe field hockey, and certainly baseball. So they're battle tested. They got champion bloodlines in their system. So they're a force to be reckoned with. And obviously they took us out. They took us out bad last year in the semis. We actually conceded defeat the first time ever in stickball history. And that had a lot to do with the fact that we had to push games to Sunday. But yeah, they made their presence felt last year, and obviously they fell short to MFS on Sunday in the final. But I think that had a little bit more to do with MFS kind of recharging Saturday night into Sunday. I think
Yep.
that they faced off against NWSB that day in the championship. I don't know. I think NWSB probably had the momentum to take them out. So definitely an interesting team to watch this year.
Absolutely. Talk to me about this matchup between BF Brown and the Gooseman. Again, two teams that come out every year and are, I would tell you, not that top tier, but right on the cusp, it seems. Have never quite got over the hump. But talk to me about this matchup and ultimately who you think is going to win between BF Brown and Gooseman.
Yeah, I mean Gooseman, they have the talent. Obviously, a mixture of Fountain Hill and Liberty Baseball and Hanover, and they have a team that could make a run if they put it all together. There's nothing to say that they can't. They obviously have played in the tournament for years on end, so they have the experience. It's really just about putting it all together. And BF Brown, some information from their captain. They're going to be missing quite a few of their usual players this year. Shout out Lehigh Little League 10U team. They were the state champ. They were district, then section,
Okay.
then state champs. So they're actually in Cranston, Rhode Island this weekend in the Eastern Regional Invitational.
Wow. Very cool.
So yeah, so there's a couple of dads and players from BF Brown that are actually going to be in Rhode Island this weekend.
All right. Fair
With
excuse.
their kids playing for a regional championship. So yeah, so Brian had said he's kind of putting together a mishmash group of people. But again, I think that he knows what it takes to win, so he's going to find people that can fill those roles.
Yeah.
And they've been facing off against the Charlie Browners in some matchups on
From
a field
practicing.
somewhere else. Yeah, so
Okay.
two teams going against each other in some scrimmages. I mean, obviously that's a good way to get experience. It's a good way to kind of mold the teams together. So I think ultimately, uh, BF Brown, I think, lost in their first game last year, and with kind of not having their squad again, I think that they're kind of ripe for a an upset here, and I think the Goosemen pull this one out.
All right. I did not see you going that route. I actually have BF Brown circled here. I thought you were about to tell me that, and then you swerved me there with the Gooseman. So I like it. Gooseman then goes on to take the NWSB in the quarterfinal matchup out of the Delaware region. But before we pick that, Alex, just real quick, I want to piggyback off. Again, shout out to Lehigh Little League, but the Classic on Instagram posted a DM from none other than Justin Rivera. And the reason I bring up Justin Rivera in Lehigh Little League is because the last time Lehigh Little League went that far, Justin Rivera, Joey Orlando, our boys were on that squad. Now, Justin Rivera doesn't have a team this year. So I just wanted to kind of make a blanket statement and say, yeah, if you need an outfielder or just anything really, I would be reaching out to the legendary J Riv, Justin Rivera. But that's just a little plug for there. Anything else, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Justin Rivera, a Fountain Hill Stickball Association champion with the Toon Squad.
Yep,
So
that's right.
he's got
That's
he's
right.
got the champion bloodlines as well. But he's been out of the game for a little bit. So I know that there was some back and forth between him and Shane Hutchinson on
Okay.
social media because I guess Shane's been asking him to come out and play for him, and Justin I guess has balked at that. But
Oh wow.
a little fun,
Hey,
a little
maybe we got to
fun
get maybe we
discussion
got to
there.
make a call to none other than Joey Orlando and get him up here from Texas, and maybe you guys can rekindle that. That would have probably been 2003 Lehigh Little League. I don't even know. But anyways, let's move on. Gooseman versus NWS. Who is coming out? NWSB. I'm sorry. Who is going to come out of the Delaware region, Alex?
I think it's NWSB. I can't say enough. I think they felt what that loss felt like in the championship last year, and I think they're riding a high, man. They're winning. They're just winning in every athletic component you can think of. And obviously, if this was their first year playing, I'd say, well, that maybe doesn't translate yet. But I think this is their third or
Yep.
fourth year in the tournament now. So,
They showed last year they can play with the best of them.
yeah,
So
yeah, they'll be all right.
moving on to our final region, the Jeter region, basic pitches versus Forge. Basic pitches, thanks for coming out. You do it every year. Forge, led by Chris Hasty. And is this a travel baseball younger team, Alex? Am I correct there?
Yeah, this is CJ Hasty's Forge travel baseball team. Obviously, there'll be some dads on that team and a little mixture of kids and adults. So they actually won last year their first round matchup against the basic pitches, and
Yeah, they got some players on this team.
for sure, for sure. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the basic pitches, Carla Glagola, Alyssa Conahan Redding, Kristen Hasty, Kristen now DePaula.
Yep.
Congratulations on their wedding.
Yep.
Um, I just want to say thank you to them because they have taken a huge part of Saturday off of my back in terms of the snack stand and concessions and
Yes.
getting the building cleaned up, dealing with the 50/50 that we do now every year. With shout out to 50/50, please make sure you're buying your tickets this year. The proceeds to that, our half is actually not going to go to us this year. It's going to go to a good cause. So those of you that support the 50/50, please do so. We will let you know what we're doing with that on Saturday once we have that taken care of. But shout out to them. Obviously, Mrs. Redding, who is a mostly retired participant on that team. She deals with the shirts and the cleaning as well. And obviously, she ran an amazing park program for so many years there. Um, we certainly wouldn't be playing stickball
For
without her.
sure. Just about to say.
That's obviously clear as day.
Yep.
Although the basic pitches don't necessarily bring the wins every year, they definitely put their heart and soul into supporting us and taking a lot off my plate, which I very much appreciate. So thank you to them.
Absolutely. Well said, Alex. I couldn't have said that better myself. All that being said, we're going to both pick the Forge here to beat the basic pitches.
I think
With
that's
an
fair.
end to that, not all that nice talk. They're going out first round. Uh, Then we have La Familia here, another interesting squad led by I believe Darius is on this team, right? I always
Yes.
get confused with these Fountain Hill kids because you got all these different teams.
Yes. Yeah. Darius Seaman is PTG. Shout out PTD,
Yep.
PTG.
Shout out PTG, the greatest musical performer in the history of Fountain Hill, and I don't mean that like I'm not joking by that.
Yeah, very
Check them out
serious.
on Spotify. It's awesome. La Familia versus the Bad News Bears. I'm gonna go La Familia just because my heart's in it for La Familia. But tell me if you see them losing to the Bad News Bears and or if what the Bad News Bears would have to do to beat them.
Yeah, so Captain Evan Michael, the Bad News Bears, obviously they come out every year. He has done really well with recruiting, some real decent talent. I got to be honest.
Bad News Bears. What do they got?
I,
NIL money over there? What's going
they
on?
they must. They always bring a sponsor
I love
to
it.
to play, and they have done quite a bit of recruiting, and I think that they definitely aren't the team that you're expecting from the past, where you're like, okay, Bad News Bears, it'll be fun, good, good
Yeah.
team, but we should be okay. They are kind of a little force to be reckoned with now, but Familia, I think they're seeing their window close a little bit, and
Yep.
obviously not having won this tournament yet. I think that if they can kind of like Team Live, that Fountain Hill personality, that Fountain Hill competitiveness and fire, if they can find a way to work together this year, who's to say it's not their year? So I think that La Familia, again, has something to play for with that window, closing for them and then getting a little bit older. I think this is, if they're going to do it, this has got to be the year that they do it.
All right. So you're gonna pick La Familia. No disagreement here. Hillers versus Forge. I think we'll both agree that the Forge may have a future title in, or I'm sorry, a title in their future, but I don't think it's going to be in 2025. Here taking on three-time former champs Hillers. I think we can both agree that the Hillers are going to take the victory here and move on to the quarterfinal.
I agree.
That brings us to a Fountain Hill matchup for the ages. This will be at 1:20 p.m. at the Fountain Hill Playground if all follow suit. But the Hillers versus La Familia. Hillers, based off of team leader Nick Johnson, they may be over the hill. According to him, they're just on the backside, kind of going downhill. Meanwhile, to your point, La Familia, their window may be shrinking. They're kind of in the prime of their athletic careers age wise. So if they're going to win, I think this might be the year. Do you see La Familia dethroning the Hillers as the best team out of Fountain Hill, at least?
Well, if we go back and look at history, Familia has never beat the Hillers in the Classic,
Wow,
which is
ever.
which is there's something to say about that.
Sure.
It's been now 7 years since we won our last title. We were wearing white in the 10th annual Classic. We will be going back to white this year in hopes to kind of rebuild
Okay.
that championship feel that we had. But I think Nick Johnson may have been right. I think that we are a little past our prime. We're going to be without Joey Martin this year,
Yeah.
which is going to change some things. Obviously, whether he's playing at second or playing at third, he always has quick hands, good throws, plays well, really good defense, and
Yep.
then his bat is something that brings a lot to the table. So without him being there, it's going to change some things up for us. And like Nick said, I think it is possible. It's certainly we're on the downslope, right?
Yeah.
We're over the hill. Him saying past our prime, I think it's probably approaching. Well, it's certainly approaching that. Because obviously
Speak for
it's
yourself here.
it's
I'm just entering my prime,
it's
but
been
I'm just
seven
joking.
years. I think Familia finally cracks the code. I think they beat us and they move into the semis.
All right, so that would lead us. Let's talk about the final four then. Out of the Moravia region, we have Team Live, led by Shane Hutchinson and squad. The Broadway region, we have the Charlie Browners coming out after a hard fought loss to the Rockets. La Familia coming out of the Jeter region, the farthest they've ever gotten in this tournament, I think. And then NWSB, a team that we have coming out of the Delaware region. Alex, talk to me about Team Live versus the Charlie Browners, the winner going on to the championship game. It's a great matchup. Again, Fountain Hill team versus a team that has won it in the past that seems hungry. Who are you picking, Live or Charlie Browners?
I'll tell you one thing. I'll have to make sure that I am uh, officiating this game because it is two teams with very big personalities.
Yeah,
There's a lot of competitiveness between the two teams, um, and it's going to be one for the ages. If this matchup is in fact the matchup that occurs here, it's going to be must see stickball in
agreed.
terms of entertainment purposes, athleticism purposes, gamesmanship, if you will, all that stuff. But uh, I gotta ride the Team Live train here. I think that they have a lot to play for. They have that aura this year. And I think that they find a way to figure it out and put themselves in position to potentially win a Fountain Hill Stickball Classic Championship.
All right, that puts Team Live in the championship game. Then La Familia versus NWSB. Can La Familia? This would be an upset for the ages, in my opinion. Again, La Familia has been playing a long time, but I don't know this NWSB, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see La Familia beating them. Do you?
Nah, it's tough because it is one of those things too where I spoke about Familia, thinking that their window's closing and they finally kind of get to the point of tasting a bit of that championship. Like they're right on the cusp of being there to play for one. But I just think NWSB is too strong, too tough. Guys that have played together, sports, whatever you call it, grew up together. I know Familia is the same. But I just think that NWSB knows what it takes to win a championship clearly. And I just think they're going to be too tough for La Familia in this position.
All right, so that brings us to the championship game then. And again, we're going to pick the champion, but before we do, again, huge shout out to everybody, all the sponsors, volunteers, players, just everybody who comes out to support the tournament. It means a lot to us. This is year, what is it, Al? 18, 17?
This year 17, the 16th tournament, year 17
Got
because of
it.
COVID, obviously, but
Right.
yeah,
So
17.
been going on for a long time. And as I said, means a lot to us. And the fact that we've been able to kind of bring people in from outside of our community, and it's almost been contagious to see them and their love for it, I think it really brings out the joy in all of us. So again, huge thank you to everybody who helps make the tournament possible. Now for our championship game, Team Live versus NWSB. This is going to be a 5:30 played at the historic Fountain Hill Playground. Many of championship games have been won and lost on this field. This year, there will be another. Will it be Team Live or NWSB taking home the 2025 Fountain Hill Stickball Classic Championship?
As much as I want to say that Team Live's tournament ends in a championship and a trophy, I just think NWSB is looking back last year, thinking that it was their year and very well could have been if that finished on Saturday and didn't go into Sunday. I think they have what it takes, man. I got to be honest. There are a lot of teams that I respect throughout the 17 years of this tournament. When you go back to Labuda's New Hope Homies and
Yeah,
Slime City
yeah,
and obviously the ones that still come out in terms of Team Live and Familia and Salisbury and the Brown teams and things like that.
absolutely.
I just feel like this NWSB team with now years of experience, they've played in the championship. They're bringing the same team back. They're young. They're hungry. I believe that this NWSB team could beat any team historically, some of the best teams in this
Wow.
tournament. So I do believe that this is their year, and I think that they find a way to pull it out.
Wow, some strong words there. Got going to be entertaining. We'll see if at this point there's kind of a little bit of pressure for NWSB to live up to the hype. I'll say it. These guys are younger and everybody's anointed them. They haven't won a title yet. So NWSB, it's show up or shut up. I think we've seen them show up in all the other sports, right? I mean, coming off a state football title. Trust me, I'm not doubting them. I'm just saying I'd love to see it done on the stickball field this Saturday at the 25 Classic. So, Alex, again, thanks as always for joining me for the show. It's always fun. Any parting words? Anything we missed on the show?
Yeah, just a couple of housekeeping things, I guess. Just as a reminder, on Saturday, there is parking allowed on both sides of the street. So on Stanley Avenue, you can park on both sides. Please keep vehicles off the grass.
Yes.
Something that is the borough has asked us to crack down on. So please don't bring any vehicles onto the grass
There
area.
also won't be room for it really with the two fields this year. So,
Correct. Yeah. And to speak on that, obviously I talked about the dimensions a little bit. That home run alley, quote unquote, if you will, a little
yep.
fun addition to this year. At its widest, it'll be about 30-ish feet between the two fences, and then at its closest, it'll be roughly about 10.
Okay.
That goes all the way out to both center fields for both fields. So I will
Keep your
say
head
that
on a swivel out there.
correct. Please make sure that you're paying attention to both fields. And if you want to get primetime seating, you're probably going to have to get down there early. I've already had people texting me, checking in on what that looks like in terms of how they feel I would go about it, in terms of getting prepared. I know a lot of people like to sit outside that left field fence for the park. Obviously now right field fence for softball field. If you want to sit there, you're gonna have to get there early because obviously now all the teams playing down in that area, there's gonna be over 200 people that are gonna be on the park premises on Saturday. So that obviously is something to keep in mind. Officials, anybody who is willing to officiate this year, please send me a message, whether it be text or DM or whatever. I'm always looking for officials and obviously teams and fans. Nobody is getting paid. So if there's a call that you don't like or you feel like you've been wronged, please know that everybody is just doing their best on Saturday, and obviously nobody is perfect. So there's going to be things that are missed in terms of calls and things like that. So please, be respectful to everybody. Keep the language down. Please keep, all alcohol and tobacco products off of the fields of play. And obviously any surrounding area. Please be careful about what you do. Support, big time support from the Bethlehem or Fountain Hill Police Department. That makes sure that everybody stays safe and traffic around that area is calmed because obviously we have a lot of people moving around. And obviously Fountain Hill Borough for always, supporting us.
Yep.
Year 17, it's going to be exciting. All hands on deck tomorrow. Anybody, like I said, anybody that is available with rakes or blowers or any kind of field work, we're definitely going to need the help. I'll be there bright and early. Obviously, nobody needs to be there that early, but I want to get a jump on the softball field to make sure that's playable. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. 20 teams. I think we're close to like 375 shirts, so that's saying a lot there.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun one.
Awesome, Alex. Again, thank you for your time and going through the bracket, all the sponsors, and all the details to this tournament. Appreciate all the hard work and looking forward to see you on the Saturday. And thanks for everybody for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll see you at the Fountain Hill Stickball Classic.